Okay, so let's look at what happened over the past couple of weeks due to Russia's invasion. The global corporate community has united in parallel with world governments. The DHS has labeled misinformation as a terror threat, while at the same time, the media and even elected government officials are calling Americans treasonous for asking questions about what's going on in Ukraine. The crackdown is coming, but the big change that is on the horizon is what's about to happen to the global financial system. Anyone who is paying attention understands what Joe Biden said yesterday is true when he came out and said, there's a new world order formulating. It's actually begun, and it's creating a new Axis power hostile to the United States. We are now making moves to decouple from the U.S. dollar. We are, not just the rest of the world. We are. Now, our enemies wish to weaken us, but ironically, so does our own government. It goes right along with the Great Reset. They want and need a weak dollar, and to take its place, I kid you not, a single global currency. Their words, not mine. In the meantime, the path to full control and submission will go straight through a U.S. digital dollar. It's being built right now. ESG could enforce with the press of a button. Privacy, a thing of the past. Local banks probably won't survive. And they can also print whatever they want with zero oversight. This is MMT, modern monetary theory on steroids. And for the Great Reset, it has to get done. Bretton Woods 3, the next great global financial shift, is underway, and I will show you what it looks like and what it all means tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern, how Ukraine's crisis will usher in a digital dollar disaster. Tonight at 9 on Blaze TV. Sign up now. Join us. We need your support. You can join us at blazetv.com/Glenn. Use the promo code Glenn and save. All right, I wanted to bring Justin Haskins in. He is the co-author of The Great Reset, the editorial director of the Heartland Institute, editor-in-chief of StoppingSocialism.com. He is also the co-author of my new book that is out, The Great Reset. By the way, it is in stores again, and it is in a hardbound copy. I highly recommend that you get the hardbound. You can listen to it on audiobook, but please get the hardbound. It has 50 pages of fine print and footnotes. You can have the argument with your friends or whoever. No, this is from whitehouse.gov or ustreasury.gov. Welcome, Justin. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing really well. I've taken the advice of Bloomberg. I've decided to deal with all the effects of inflation. I'm off of beet now. I'm only eating lentils, dried lentils all the time. That's all I'm eating.
Great. Well, thank you for eating dry lentils, because we don't want to use too much water either.
No, I care about the climate, Glenn. I care about the climate.
Justin, you wrote an article for Newsweek. Biden's plan for a digital dollar, massive threat to freedom. You can find that now at newsweek.com. But if I hear one more person say, that'll never happen. That'll never happen. It's going to happen sooner than people think. Agree?
100%. We know for a fact that this is the case. When we were working on the Great Reset book, and not everyone knows this, but we started writing that in 2020, way back in 2020. And when we were writing the Great Reset book, we quoted from people involved in that movement who are affiliated with Joe Biden, using words like a new world order and talking about the possibility of a digital currency, switching to a digital currency. And there's a whole chapter in the book about modern monetary theory that discusses all of those things. And we are now seeing this play out in real time. This is actually happening. The things that we were called crazy for a couple of years ago are now happening. This new executive order issued by the Biden administration not only says that the federal government needs to study the issue of creating a digital currency and produce a report within 6 months on this, even though we've already had a bunch of reports about this, including one that came out in January from the Fed. It says that within 7 months, 210 days of the order, there needs to be legislation produced by the Treasury Department, the Attorney General, and the chair of the Fed. They need to get together and create a legislative proposal for a digital dollar and present it to the White House. So you don't do that within 7 months unless you've been planning to do this. A major, major shift in the modern.
And we know they have been. I mean, we know that this has been a push all over the world. And we also, as I'm going to explain tonight, I'm going to show you what the Fed has been doing in Boston with MIT. They already have it. They already know. What they're looking to do on this executive order is a little creepy. Why, Justin, would you need to talk to businesses, activist groups, environmental groups? Why would the government need to get their opinion on a new dollar, a new currency?
Yeah. The only reason that you would be talking to those, and then that's not you just speculating. That comes directly from the White House. They said that they've been working with industry, labor, consumer, environmental groups, international allies and partners. Why would you be working with all of these people on a dollar, on a new currency? The only reason you would be working with them on that is because the currency is going to be programmable. It's going to be programmable, controllable, trackable, traceable, and you'll be able to manage it, set restrictions for it anytime you want. That's the only reason you would be concerned with talking to environmentalists, for example, when trying to develop, or labor unions, when trying to develop a currency like this. They have given it away. When in the executive order itself, it says that they want to use this currency to promote financial inclusion and equity and to fight climate change and pollution. Well, how do you do that? How do you do that unless it's a programmable, controllable currency? And the words financial inclusion are six times it's mentioned in the executive order. And equity and climate change are mentioned 4 times each. That's 14 times they mention terms like that in his executive order.
So it's really important that people understand programmable. And we have new video. Do we have this ready? This is from the Fed in St. Louis, right? Do you know the background of this? Explain who this is that we're about to hear.
You're about to hear, this is from a Q&A session in 2021 with David Andelfato, who's a senior vice president and economist with the St. Louis Fed. He is an expert on digital currency. And Q&A is about what's going to happen with a potential digital currency created by the Fed in the future. And the person who's asking the question says, can the Fed assure us that, meaning the public, that these digital currencies won't ever be used to tell us when, how, or where our money can be spent? And then he responds with this incredible answer.
Listen to this.
Yeah, I mean, in life, one can't give absolute assurances of anything. If I understand the question correctly, I think the caller is concerned about the potential, privacy that would be associated, say, with a government sort of digital currency. This is an ongoing debate that we have all the time about how much privacy is desirable. I mean, there's a bit of a trade-off here as well, because we don't know, for example, what sort of entities might make use of these central bank digital currencies for nefarious purposes, say to finance terrorist activities. So, we might want the government to monitor certain types of transactions as well. And, we see this in the anti-money laundering laws and the KYC laws. So there's a trade-off. One can't give assurances for sure. Congress respond to.
Okay, good. Okay, so what he's saying here is, we're gonna monitor for terrorists, et cetera, et cetera. The problem is that's his opinion, and how do you define terrorist? But it's also really important. Our conversation years ago, Great Britain and Parliament, the reason digital currency debate kind of stopped and went well. Will do.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And his response actually is extremely telling. If somebody asks you, hey, are you guys going to use this as a tool to control our lives and manipulate us and decide what we can buy and what we can't buy and when, what would be the response if your plan was not to do that? Your response would be, no, that's crazy. Of course we're not going to do that. And instead, he begins with, in life, one can't give absolute assurances of anything, really. I mean, what kind of response is that unless that's the goal? And going back to what you said about terrorism, we just saw this play out in Canada, where people who supported the Freedom Truckers were literally being called terrorists by the government.
And by the way, the parents in Virginia were also labeled as terrorists. If you're labeled terrorist by the government, and they have a right to shut down all terrorist activities and shut down the use of the digital currency, well, what would have happened? Would that have happened? What happened in Canada, the truckers, would that happen to the Virginia? And would people have
They're very open about it. All people have to do is listen and watch and believe what people are saying to them. Just take these people at their word. Take them seriously. And you will see that this is the plan, to use a digital currency, a whole new currency, to control and manipulate society.
So the measures that Biden announced, they say, will focus on 6 key areas. Consumer and investor protection. What does that mean? Go ahead.
Price controls would be my guess. Price controls, potentially determining how much money you can spend on, I don't know, gasoline or whatever, providing incentives for people to spend more money on solar power, determining whether you should be buying products that are good for you or bad for you, like, say, sugary drinks or something. I mean, the possibilities are truly endless.
Now, that sounds crazy, but let me tell you something that happened yesterday. By a 3-1 vote, with all Democratic members voting yes and the sole Republican voting member voting no, the SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission, advanced the proposed rule compelling companies to disclose climate-related risks. The goal of the new regulation is to discourage Wall Street investment managers from giving oil and gas companies the investments they need to increase domestic energy production. Of the capital they need to increase domestic energy production. The new regulation will also force companies to get their emissions data